this place is very important. This place is called the Salt Rock. The name comes from the fact that in the 1700s there was a shortage of salt in Brazil. All the salt was being brought to Brazil. So what happened? The slaves and the water came very close to here, where that building are. It's so the salt will be brought here. The slaves will bring it up to the hill because sometimes the water came all the way up here. So and then they distribute the salt and send to different places in Brazil. And these steps were carved by the slaves because the slaves used to call this the butt step, the butt rock, because it would be very slippery. So then they decided to make the steps. So that's the first importance of this place. In the early 1900s, when slavery was over, samba, and again, samba is type of music and dance that was brought to Brazil by the people from Angola. In Angola, samba was pronounced samba, but because of the name and the change in the forgot the word now. Dialect. They changed the way we pronounce it. So there's a discussion that samba was born in Brazil or in Salvador. It's kind of logical, to me at least. If the first black people went to Salvador, samba was reborn there, okay? But some people believe that samba was born here. What happened was, when slavery was over, Rio was the capital of Brazil. Rio was a very prosperous city. Free slaves from all over the country came to Rio for better opportunities. And there was a group of women that came to Rio, and one in particular, Aunt Seata. And she brought samba with her. She practiced a lot of samba in Salvador. And the samba that you heard in Salvador back then was more basic. It was like, so when she brought samba to Rio, here, samba had a lot of influence from the big bands from America. So the samba we heard on Saturday is more like the samba that is played in Rio. More instruments, guitar, so forth and so on. So, and that was the samba that was recorded. Therefore, they claim that samba was born in Rio, okay? And here was an area where most of the black people would play samba. The reason was they would be playing samba here, There'll be samba. That was against the law, okay? There'll be samba, dancing, and they couldn't see if the cops will come. If the cops came, they run up there, okay? So that happened in 1930. So this is very important. It was the only place, or one of the places in Rio where black people play samba. It was safe for them in a way that they could run. Some people eventually got arrested, but mainly this was a safe place. So time went by. In the past 10 years, black people have taken this area. The owners here, they opened this bar. And Monday nights and Friday nights, they play samba here the way it was played back then. There is a big table, and then there are one or two groups, and they play samba. I used to come a lot. Now it's super busy. It's very crowded, okay? But there is an attempt to bring samba back to where it was, and so and with the freedom that we have now. Okay? So this is called Pedra do Sal. Okay? Pedra do Sal, Salt Rock. Questions, comments?
Any significance of the picture ahead?
Thank you. That's my next friend. This is Zumbi. Remember the Quilombo that I talked about? Runaway communities built by runaway slaves. So Quilombo, Zumbi, Z-U-M-B-I, was born a slave. Excuse me? Because I know you're going to ask me, who is that guy? I know it happens. So Zumbi was born a slave. His parents died when he was very young. He was raised by a Catholic priest, I'm sorry. He taught him English, French, history, geography. He was a very intelligent man. When he was 15, he ran away from the church, and he went into a quilombo. Excuse me. Zumbi was part of a quilombo, Palmares, the one that lasted the longest. Palmares had 100 years of life, and he was part of that 100 years. In fact, he's to be known to be the most important runaway slave. He was a leader, okay? So, but eventually he was caught and he was killed. But he was responsible to making Palmares a very successful for Quilombo. So there are two important dates in Brazil for the black community. May 13th, end of slavery, and November 20th, which is his birthday. We also celebrate Black Awareness Day on November 20th. A lot of people prefer to celebrate November 20th than May 13th because people think that slavery did end on May 13th. It just changed faces, okay? So that is Zumbi, all right? So questions, comments, I want to give you some time to take pictures. If you go up here, you see also a very nice mural of the black culture here, okay? Questions, comments? And here you have samba people. Those are people that has composed and played samba throughout history. Right? And I'll be here for questions if you have them. Thank you. Again, there's nothing that says who he was and who he is. They used to have a plaque here, but now it's gone. By Zumbi.
That Zumbi's claim to fame was not only the fact that he was a prosperous, he was able to lead Palmares to prosperity, and he negotiated a lot of terms to be left alone so that the people in his Quilombo, they actually were considered a separate community for a very, very long time. And the Portuguese had to actually negotiate certain terms with him to leave them alone. I watched.
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of that. I know he was very influential, but he was, unfortunately killed by the Portuguese. A very horrible situation.
How you spell his name?
Z-U-M-B-I. Okay? All right, folks, 10 minutes here for take pictures.
For those who want to know more about it, there's a free movie.
And also there's a movie called